obviously good for the reasons you said, but
I have to reiterate that a lot of the reason why that also felt amazing was I was there in Korea, and it was also a big moment for me to finally be at the GSL studio for the first time after watching it for 8 years from home.
right. So there's always a little of that. Like I put WSS Montreal probably higher than most other people, and so on and so
I mean,
forth.
the grand final, Rainer, Cyril, the casting with Pig, like, massive crowds. Montreal is always amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So there's always that. But seriously, like Katowice is like a lot of people would say that it is the best tournament. And a lot of people literally were arguing in forums and Reddit threads and whatnot about whether it is the true global tournament of the year, or if BlizzCon is, so on and so forth. But the point is, it's a big tournament. It's a lot of money helped by the war chest, and it's an awesome time with awesome casters, and it's also one of the ones that can be flexible about their formatting. So everyone wants to be there, everyone wants to, you know, see it, and these guys especially want to be already advanced into it so they don't have to worry about it anymore. Yeah, there's 3 other qualifiers technically for them to try, 1 Europe, 2 Korean, but it'd be nice just to win right here, right now. So the score is currently tied up 1-1 in this best of 5. The top left is the red Protoss. He is Patience.
Certainly is. And in the bottom right, looking really good in this qualifier. He's been bodying everyone. Patience, the first guy to draw blood. This is Chivo's soO. And yes, his team is called Chivos. He still has the Asterion thing on his thing.
Just pretend it's a joke.
He's just looking to gore that competition. You know, it's a bullhorn sort of thing. He's just charging on through. I even said that. That's what I meant by that.
Yeah, of course he did. It's gonna be great.
But yeah, no, I mean, the reason why Katowice is so amazing is it's one of those tournaments that lasts like a whole week. Because you have like several. It's similar to BlizzCon where you have like several days in one location, then several days in another. But Katowice takes that to the next level where it goes from like the ESL studios to Spodek side arena and then Spodek main arena. It actually goes like 3 different locations, and it has a round of 76 round robin, which is massive. And round robin is one of those formats which isn't particularly exciting as a viewer and a little bit hard to follow as a viewer unless you have like the bracket open on your other page. It's a little bit tough to know what the storylines of the tournament are. It's kind of up casters get that across to you, but it's tough with a round robin. And then it's group stages, then it's another group stage, and then it's a final round of 8, best of 5, single elim bracket, way at the end. So it's a very fair format, which is part of the reason why a lot of people like it as well. You can't really argue that round robin is not fair.
Right.
So everyone gets to play everyone at least once.
Yes, exactly. Some people, I'm certain, are arguing over whether the formats of the qualifiers are fair, but
yes,
it's like the one tournament of the year, like I think at this point, literally the only tournament of the year, big tournament of the year, where there are no longer any region locks. So, if you do have a problem with it, I would kind of just like say get over it. Is like, I don't know, it's like my
build a bridge, mate.
But
that's what I say.
I think most people are just happy that it is. A lot of people are just happy it's not region locked, that we do get to see the crossover. But we had such amazing Koreans show up. This wasn't a case of like the round of 32 GSL players showed up and our NA guys got to try themselves out against it. No. This is like, innovation apparently being the best showing up. So it's difficult. So, of course, we have the American server, qualifier against server, not region locked, being top 4 Koreans and obviously top 2. So who's going to be the second person through in the winner's bracket? Who's going to be in the bottom side, loser's bracket? I don't know. That's where more interesting things are happening for sure. But I think this score is already interesting. 1-1. And now we have soO seeing the Dark Shrine with the Overlord speed.
Yeah, so we're going to have the Archon Prism drop here of the Dark Shrine variety. Sometimes the power of this is that you have 4 Cloak Boys in the early stages of the game, while it's a little bit, a bit more of a less cost-efficient Archon, I guess, where you can, you'd prefer to have Charge and High Templar most of the time on the way. Like, it's a great unit composition to have against Zerg. But the Cloak Boys are cloaked. And if Spores aren't in position and you can find an opening, they can do a lot of damage before they get taken down and turned into Archons. soO is double Spore crawling here. Is that to save a drone, or is he just deliberate?
So it could have been to save a drone. I wasn't paying attention. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Yeah, so he was just saving drones. I thought maybe he was making 1 for the detection and 1 to eventually move forward and try and help with the Warp Prism defense. But he actually is just saying, I don't need it because I'm going to have an Overseer in time. He went for a slightly earlier layer than usual. He's also going right into Roach speed, so he could just, deal with the... Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Who is it? Is it me? Is it you? It's not us.
Blair please. My connection to Korea is just fine. Blair TV, shame on you. All right, they're other.
Good man though. Just immediately leaves once he can.
Yeah. That's...
You're interrupting my awesome analysis. What are you doing? No, but seriously, he could just simply like deny the super hardcore and even try and threaten an attack once his roach speed is done. That's scary stuff for the Protoss, who really is just on these Archons as they try to expand. Yeah,
the Cloak Boys are out of here, so they're going to be turning Archons. And I feel like your heart's already going to be in your socks here as a Protoss when you see this many roaches out. You're like, okay, I don't think that my Archons are going to do anything here. You know, the Prism's looking for a different angle, but the Overlord sees that. See that he does have that Prism up on the high ground. The roaches are just looking to engage. Don't want to go across the map just yet. Actually, that little move out from soO led me to believe that he is going to counterattack with roaches after this. Yeah. You could see his mind. He's like, I want to go across the map. Nope, coming back. Still got these DTs to deal with.
He got up to about 50, 54, 55 is kind of that usual roundabout number that Zerg players would do a lot of those 3-base all-ins from. You know, we had the Hydra bus for a long time that was off the same amount of drones. But this is off of roaches. They're not getting an upgrade, so it really is all signs pointing, yes it is.
Oh my God.
All signs pointing to the eventual attack. But Patience, I mean, I'm not sure this is a response to what he think could have happened, because now he sees a ton of roaches and he's probably getting suspicious. But it might just work out well for him, whatever the intention was, because he's buying what he's hoping be a lot of time, and keeping a lot of the roaches back home. But as you can see, already a large portion of them making their way across, trying to do some damage.
Yeah, and he's brought an Overseer with it as well, just in case there's some defensive DTs brought out. And there is not that much left of this third Nexus for Patience. soO, with a superior roach count, breaking on in. He brings that Immortal in from the natural, and it looks like a couple Archons here from earlier. They used to be Cloak Boys, now they're the Cotton Balls of Death, and they are turning and fighting here. That roach count is insane, though. Can he get rid of this Overseer and use those DTs to fight? He's going to turn it straight into an Archon. But it's right on the front line in front of way too many roaches.
Yeah, he also was unable to, you know, go Super Saiyan with that War Prism with a micro. He lost most of his Archons right off the bat, his Immortals. The last few things he can micro, and they can certainly take out a lot of roaches. There are more on the way. soO is not giving up on this. He's also getting Zergling speed, which once those appear, they can race across the map and help out, try and get surrounds on the Immortals. I mean, Immortal War Prism, man, they can do a lot, but can it hold against us all in?
I don't know. I mean, the Immortals have still got a lot of hit points on them here, and there's 2 Prisms alive. He has space for a lot more than 2 Immortals, but it's unfortunately he's lost his Archons earlier on. The Immortals are getting really low now, but the shield battery finishes up just in time. The Zealots are out as well. Those Lings that you mentioned are coming on through, but they're not in convincing numbers. A 3rd Immortal coming in from the natural. The Prism's here to keep it alive, and there's double shield battery to fall back to, ZombieGrub. I think holding this is actually a dream that's still alive for Patience, but it is still looking rough.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's a dream that's still alive, but it's going to be very, very difficult. The Immortals ended up being such heroes. Yeah, you could have saved an Archon and had a perfect defense, but it's close to economically perfect. He has not had to pull the probes here. He's still at 66 workers. He got away, actually, with so much, but the analysis for later, because this is still going on. And now with the charge lots being done, soO's armor just too bad. He can't end the game.
soO's still streaming in those roaches, but these Immortals are now high enough to count to stand and fight, especially with 2 War Prisms being here. Patience letting them get a little bit low. He still hasn't lost any Immortals, though, and still warping in charge lots, like you mentioned. Whoopsie daisies, canceled that one. He's like, nah, maybe not right in front of the Zerg here. Maybe pull back to the 3rd base, just be a little bit more careful. soO's trying to switch gears and go on to Aspire here, but realistically, what does he do with that? He doesn't have that many resources to get too many, Mutalisks out. Nice use of Contaminate here to try and slow down Immortal production.
Really nice. Really, really nice.
These stack it too.
Yeah, exactly. It's annoying when you have that one person on ladder who like tries to do this like silly 4 Overseer consistently contaminate thing, but sometimes it really does look good. And soO's almost doing it with 3 Overseers. So the game is going to go on, but soO was already down on the workers for a good ZVP, especially considering Patience got up to the worker count that he did and got away with things. Like, he didn't even have shield batteries to begin with. Okay, well, that's not that many Lings. It should be okay. Yeah. But, yeah, he didn't even have shield batteries to begin with over this space. I thought for sure he was just being totally blindsided by it. And instead he ends up holding and being in a good position. soO, desperate gambit with the Mutas could work out. Could buy him time anyways, but he just lost a 4th base. So that's not a great start to the comeback.
Yeah, it certainly sucks for him. Patience has been carrying on 3 Nexi for quite a while here. He cleans up those Lings in his main. And soO did actually managed to squeeze out, looked to be 8 Mutas, going up to 9, and getting drones off the back of that. So This small cluster of mutas, I mean, it's weird to call 9 mutas a small cluster, but I feel like, you know, it's not hugely threatening, but it can be used to pick off warp prisms and also get probe kills. That's something that these small amounts of mutas can absolutely do. As far as standing and fighting against things like Archons and whatnot, that's not so much the case. They aren't really a fighting force. They're a rogue force, a swing by, get damage done, and then swing out kind of army.
Yeah, a lot of things pointed to not mutas, you know, to be honest, for soO. I guess a lot of things. One or two things certainly did. Like the containment on the Immortals might have really fooled patients into thinking there was just gonna be masses and masses of roaches. But, you know, it was the mutas, and it could have been a problem. Just a couple of Stalker Warpins end up dealing with it. Blink's already almost done. I mean, there should have been an opening because there's also no Stargate, but nah. Like, as good of an idea as mutas are for a lot of reasons, and in this game as a comeback unit, Patience just dealt with them no problem. They don't really help out in the main fight should Patience finally move out with Archons and Stalkers.
No, yeah. He's going to have Storm shortly enough, surely.
I'm not sure about continuing with the mutas.
He may not need Storm.
Yeah, he might not. Hey, he's gonna go on with the mutas. Plus one even on the way. I don't know.
Yeah, wow.
Well, I think if you go on with the mutas against someone who doesn't have a Stargate, you are just gonna eventually look towards a base race. I mean, that's what was happening for so often in StarCraft 2 years ago. But these did not get the snowball effect they were looking for the first 10 or even 12 or 15. And that's usually how it really starts to get hectic for the Protoss.
Yeah. No, those Archons in the Prism here making things a little bit rough for those mutas. They do find an opening to get a little bit of damage done. The work count of Patience isn't amazing, but soO has been supply blocked, actually, losing a little bit of those Overlords, and he's got a bit of attack of Roach Ling on the north-hand side. His army just isn't very complex at the moment. Like, he's on Roach Ling Mutalisk at the moment. And this is the kind of army that Patience can absolutely stand and fight against with very little micro. He's got a very, very good army against this.
Yeah. That's absolutely true. Guardian Shield, maybe a few Force Fields if you need it. But soO is handling it like a pro, which makes a lot of sense. He's using his roaches akin to Lings, which you would typically see with the mutas. They're managing to find the armies that they are somewhat efficient against, and they are finding some openings, or at least drawing the army away so the mutas could find some openings. It hasn't been devastating yet, but that's what soO's looking for, is that one bad move from Patience to really bring him back into this game. And certainly he's bought enough time to get up to 5 bases. He could already be back in this game, killing a lot of Stalkers, but this doesn't seem like a fight he really wants to continue to take.
No, I think this Zerg army can check in, but it can't check out of this. It has Protoss on the left, Protoss on the right, and the only thing that's going to be able to escape is these Mutalisks. So the Lings and Roaches all die. He did not kill the 3rd base. He killed some cannons, and that is a handful of probes, and that's basically it. Patience definitely has the army and the economy to start going across the map to press the issue into soO's territory here. The creep spread of soO is also not that great. His ability to defend with this army is not that great. Ling and Muta does not stop this army, ZombieGrub. I don't know how often I can say it.
No, it doesn't. But it goes to the base race. And as I said, I think that's what your ultimate goal really is. So that's why I think he was so tempted to take that fight over the 3rd, because he thought he had enough Stalkers to really make a difference when he just made 12 more mutas, which he literally just did, and unfortunately now being picked off. But that didn't really go that way. There's still a ton of Stalkers. There's still an okay amount of Archons. I guess now down to 2. 1 with the army, and the base race, it's happening, man. This is how things are going to go. This is what soO is planning probably for minutes at this point.
And this is actually starting off nicely for soO. He's got a very nice spread out of bases, and the base race began on the left-hand side before Patience was anywhere near the Zerg bases, and now he's just begun. Now he's started trying to chew through the infrastructure here of soO, but, you know, soO's already killed that 3rd. It's gone. Well, rather, he's killed the meat and left the bones, but unfortunately he needs to get rid of all of it. The win condition of StarCraft is killing all the structures.
Yeah. There's not enough Stalkers in the main base to combat the mutas, and also definitely not with all those Lings there. So that is going to be a win in the main and natural. I think Patience, he didn't see the outline like we did, you know, with our all-seeing eyes, but yeah, it was the, I think, attempt to just go force a base race, and it seems like it's worked. Patience really would have wanted to have one base, maybe the natural, maybe more, hopefully the 3rd, to be really well protected. Archons, cannons, shield batteries, and I guess he started to try, but he just underestimated how many mutas there would be. So it seems like it snowballed in soO's favor, but base races get weird, man. soO only has so many hatcheries he can continue building. 2 more, I guess, if he doesn't cancel this one.
Yeah, this one's in a spot of bother there. It looked like maybe some Mutalisks went home for soO to be able to try and slow down the attacks of Patience. He's splitting off these Protoss units to pick off multiple hatcheries. Recalled the bulk of it, though, to stand and fight here against Mutalisks. But does he have enough? Those War Prisms are gone. He can't pull those Archons to safety, and even if he did, the Mutas could potentially snipe it down. The Archons get taken down. Stalkers are really not a convincing army against Ling Muta.
These are very upgraded Stalkers, something we didn't get to mention before the base race started. Yeah, and 1 armor, which I think is really great for the, dealing with the unupgraded Lings and the Glaive Worm effect as well. So it was just a matter of bringing enough Stalkers back and not just literally letting them sit right underneath the Mutas, which finally Patience is able to accomplish. And he did take out the other bases over here. Things are still interesting. And I'm no longer saying I know what to call it, although I thought soO was having a little bit of a momentum lead. Things have changed.
Yeah, Patience's army is still quite powerful. Getting these Immortals is actually quite nice. These are the deadliest thing for a structure here for the Zerg. And if soO can get a couple of hatcheries up, he could certainly try and slow things down and try and get some drones happening. You see he's trying to make some workers here and try and get his spawning pool up, because one thing he can do is make a handful of Lings, try and help him out with the ground army and try and draw some of that Stalker fire. Wow, look how low that layer is.
Yeah.
God.
He can't get his drones out. I think those are all the drones.
I think so. That's gonna make making hatcheries tough. There goes that lair, and Patience gets it.
Nicely done, Patience. Yeah, I think after being back and defended, and soO once again overstayed his welcome with the Mutas. Yeah, I think that was it. It wasn't just losing the Mutas to the eventual big enough Stalker army at the end there. It was that he didn't go back to save any of his hatcheries either, right? So before he realized that he was out of potential drones to spread around the map, and that's just not a place you can be in when you're going for that true base race. Dang.
Yeah, that was a fun game, the base race. It feels like when you go for Mutalisks in ZVP and you don't make just a small number to kill a Warp Prism, it always ends up being a base race, doesn't it?
Wait, say that again? When you can't build enough to build a Warp Prism?
When like, if you make, like, say, 6 to 7 Mutas just enough to fight against Warp Prism play, and then switch out of it into something else,
yeah,
you turn into a regular ZVP.
Okay, yeah.
But if you make, like, dozen plus Mutas, it always just seems to turn into a base race.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Like, once you go past the 10, 12 number, I think it does. And I think it also is just so much more tempting for the Zerg to do it when they know that their opponent, for once in a ZVP, didn't go for Stargate. So, and I think, wait, no, what? No, we're in the wrong game.
Oh.
I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't look right.
I've logged out.
Yeah, thank you. You saved us. I couldn't hit the quit button. You saved us. That's awkward. Darn pro gamers putting their lobbies in the chat channel like they should, but also confusing us.
Like they shouldn't. They expect us to click before looking. I mean, come on now.
I hope that means that Patience didn't accidentally not invite us. Fruit Bunker, save us.
Uh-oh.
Which is also Naruto. Continue our analysis once we, okay. Yeah. We're in the right one now. We're good. We're Gucci. Yeah, 2-1 in favor of Patience.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, the base race thing. Like, I feel like some people might also point out that Patience could have tried defending those 4 bases and been slowly getting up to Stargate. Because, like, now looking back on it, I'm a little surprised he didn't even try to go for Stargates. Obviously, he won the game, so, like, what cares about this critique, but... It does usually make things easier if you can get 2 Stargates up pumping out those Phoenix, rather than just tracing your room around with Stalkers.
Interested to see what game 4 looks like here.
Yeah, that was the first game we saw of 3 games, guys. We don't know what happened in the first 2. Could have been something similar. Could have been something very, very different.
I think one of the best things about IEM, as we introduced the play in the bottom left here, this is Patience.
And it's top right, as the blue Zerg, it is soO. What's the best thing about IEM?
One of the best things, I mean, there's a lot of great things about IEM, but one of the best things is that they are very good about releasing replays very quickly. So if you do want to know what happens in these first few games in the series that we didn't get to see here live on Twitch TV ZombieGrub, you can see it because the replays are generally always released. Like Katowice, when it ends, is straight into the replay submission. And hello, that's a forge.
Yep. I don't want to interrupt you because you're talking about how great IEM is, but yeah, they do release replays rather fast. We haven't got any updates about like as far as VOD uploads, but they haven't told us not to have VODs accessible on Twitch. So if you missed anything from earlier, you can watch it on my channel, indeed. But yeah, Cannon Rush. You know, there was one map in last season's map pool that everyone was like, well, you know, you're always gonna be afraid of it, and I've already forgotten the name of that map. Lost and Found?
Yeah. Lost and Found.
I don't know what was the map for Cerulean Fall. I mean, what little I know about Cannon Rush, and Fear Dragon has told me that Cerulean Fall is a map that he usually vetoes. So I took that to mean that he doesn't like Cannon Rushing on this map, and it's not good because he actually does study Cannon Rushing, but seems to be going okay.
Yeah. It looks alright. There's a nice little position here. The probe taking a lot of damage here for these drones and dies. That kind of stinks, but he does still have that second probe, as most Cannon Rushers do. Really wants to get a cannon on that high ground. And soO is just chasing cannons here as best as he can, trying to put the drone in a good location to force the inability of the probe to be able to put a cannon there on that location. He cancels that natural. He's going to take his natural somewhere else. And as a result, Patience cancels that cannon. And being able to cannon rush the main base is tough when you're up against a Zerg because of creep. So I think this might just have ended.
Yeah, you really want to make it complicated by... I mean, first of all, it's great when you can successfully cannon rush without them noticing. Like, they don't have an overlord or any drones checking, so they just, like, pop their hatcheries on they're being attacked. If you can't do that, you do want them to overcommit, or maybe you start up a wall towards the ramp. But in this scenario, soO is still going to have trouble getting down the ramp because there's just one cannon successfully blocked by pylons. He will have his third no problem. No probe want to go chase that and continue the cannon rush. So I feel like he shouldn't be that upset with how things went down. Well, Patience is now adding cannons.
Wow, interesting.
Is he really gonna do that? Like, what?
I don't see what the second cannon does.
Yeah, like once you lose the high ground vision, I get the pylons can be targeted by the high ground. I think it'd take a long time though, with just a queen. So I guess he's just trying to make it efficient against what he assumes is gonna be a lot of links soon enough. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And next and third cannon here. I mean, Patience is doing what you're supposed to do after cannon rush like this, and that is just, well, I mean, there's different schools of thought. Some people think that you should put your gateway and robotics facility down there and go all in, but he's actually getting his nexus across the other side of the map, probing up behind us as well, so he can turn this into a regular game with just a big economic lead. And soO does have this extra hatchery up, so he's on 2 bases as well, technically, but there's no drones on it. There's not really much happening there.
The Baneling bust, I guess, is... I feel like if he didn't add more cannons, like, then soO would not really have had a strong reaction, but because he does, he did just force soO to have a strong reaction, and he's not... It's not like he didn't get a Nexus up or anything behind this. Like, he is thinking this is a good trade for him, as long as soO has to actually do something about it,
wow.
Which soO had a perfect number of Banelings, apparently. Deal with the cannons, shield batteries be damned, and that did not turn out to be that efficient, I think, for Patience.
Yeah, that ended up being quite nice. Now he has this big ball of lings, and he can get his third up here in the natural location while stopping the third of the Protoss happening for quite a while. The power of what soO's done here is that the Patience has spent a lot of resources, old minerals, into this cannon attack, and doesn't, as a result, have a whole lot back at home in terms of units. He has a couple sentries and an adept, and that's it.
I mean, we were constantly just hemming and hawing about the dedication, and at the end of the day, it ended up not being good. So this counter looks threatening, but force fields are good against a specific type of bust.
Force fields quite nice, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
Dark
good.
Shrine right in front of him. I guess this is where all the pylons are. Actually, are they? Is there something in the main? Yeah, there's a pylon in the main. He just wanted to be like, ha. Good dude.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, why wouldn't you hide that? But okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a cannon. So can't tell. I don't know. But soO's also in the same vein that I was hemming and hawing about Patience continuing his cannon rush. I'm now like, soO, why would you put another Baneling? Seems like it won't do very much, and it doesn't. There was a full wall. It's awkward now because I guess Patience doesn't want to cancel that gateway. Okay, he does. He sees that the army is left with Lucian Phoenix. This is just a kind of awkward game. People are committing more to things than I think they will, but now it's kind of calming down.
Yeah. Well, Everything's been depowered, repowered here for Patience, rather. And I like that he's going for a Warp Prism here. Not only can he go across the map and potentially, you know, pull these Lings away from him so he can take a third base. Also, if his stuff gets depowered, he can repower it.
Okay. There's a 5 gateways in total. Oh no, there's already 3 gateways. Wait, where are they? 1 second forge. Oh, they're already built in the main. Sorry.
There you go.
So that's a lot of gateways. That's not just 4 to build 4 DTs, turn into an Archon, continue the game on. In the macro sense, that is 4, 7, 8 gateways total with an Archon or 2 added in. And an Immortal? I mean, wait. Is this just is he going to expand? This game has me a little confused, but I guess it's just production that he feels he has to get first and foremost, and then he can feel safe expanding.
Oh, there's a Spore Crawler here in the main of soO. And soO is still just on hatchery tech, but definitely has what he needs to be able to hold back against DTs. Started up that layer, just as I mentioned. With the Roach count up, you're going to be all right against Archons. The Lings are going to be all right against DTs, as long as they're detected, obviously. And I like this from soO, just send those Lings across the map, try and deny that third base of Patience, or make sure, even if you don't get to deny it, just make sure it's actually happening. Because he doesn't have any idea about this gateway count here of Patience. He doesn't have an Overlord anywhere near Patience's base, so he can't really sack it in for a scout.
He did get in the main, apparently.
When?
Yeah, actually, I'm with you, right? There's no Overseer for sure. Maybe a Lang ducked in we didn't notice. Maybe an Overlord ducked in. I mean, this game has been a little confusing overall. We're getting to more of a standard point, and we're able to just say, like, at the end of the day, apparently Patience was just worried about getting production over, you know, fast third base because this was a weird game, and you kind of have to make that choice, you know, take a potentially dangerous third when I see them Baneling attacking me, and, you know, potentially lose it or go for the gateway production first, even for production. But it's still third base, still +1, still charged, still Archon, Immortal, all the things we'd expect to see. And soO did apparently get a scout, and he's also going to things we'd expect to see. Very safe things, too. So Ling, Roach with Roach speed. I mean, so be it. soO's gonna have a little trouble deflecting this. There we go. More Roaches do pop up forward. And it looks like without going for his own upgrade, I'm gonna say... okay. I was going to say something similar to last game, but instead of going for the real Roach push, he adds on a Spire and more drones. So that's why he's not getting any upgrades for his ground army.
All right. And he has all of these gases taken by the looks of things as well, so he's going to have a nice big bit of gas income. He's got a fair bit more than Patience at the moment. Nice pick off there, actually. Supply blocking Patience at the moment. Means no more probe production, means no more army production. Patience is going to make a few pylons to deal with that. Oh. And that's, you know, anytime you can slow down the Protoss, it's going to be great.
Patience did not get his extra gases at the third base, so I probed up a little bit. It's on a fully saturated base, and he is attacking soO, who is trying to get to that Spire, is now realizing what's going on, building as many Roaches, Banelings, whatever he can as possible. His army's not terrible, but when you compare it to the composition, and again, the lack of an upgrade here, it's not looking so hot for soO.
No, and this big concave, the Archon count, the Immortal count, this is really, really rough for the Zerg to hold with just Roach Ravager. The Sentries are mostly out of juice, but they still have like a Force Field or 2 available. I don't think they can Guard and Shield at the moment, but they're just standing and fighting here. Some of the forces on the left-hand side are thinning out, but then the Immortals and the Archons turn and fight, and things are going to go a little bit differently. The Biles do not connect with anything except for, I think, a couple Zealots there. And here comes some extra Sentries with a nice catch on those Roaches. soO wasn't expecting that one, and I kind of wasn't either. I wasn't paying attention, but the Force Fields catch some Roaches, and soO starts to bleed out units. Things get better and better for Patience. Now the Warp Prism is also being thrown into the mix here to keep these Immortals alive, and we learned from Game 3 that his Warp Prism micro is pretty damn good. These Immortals dodging the fire there, and Patience is going to be, strangely enough, the second